What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, we are here for World's Biggest Collectors, episode 46, the show where we bring on the biggest physical media collectors in the YouTube and social media spaces. And today, I am joined by the Mockbuster himself on here to talk about physical media, his collection, his perspective of living in Canada and purchasing physical media in the States, and just the struggles that he has to go through to get certain 4K and Steelbook releases. I hear it from you guys, my Canadian audience. You guys are always saying how hard it is to purchase certain titles. We get into all that in this episode here today. And yeah, we just have a great conversation about him and his channel and his collection and movies and physical media and all that good stuff. And also be sure to subscribe to the Mockbusters channel. Those links will be down below in the description. His Instagram, his YouTube, all of his social media accounts will be down below in the description. So here we go, guys. World's Biggest Collectors, episode 46. Let's do it. All right, welcome everybody to World's Biggest Collectors, episode 46. I am here with the Mockbuster. What is up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's a nice night. I noticed your thing says Mockbuster. It's the Mockbuster.
The Mockbuster. I feel like
Spider-Man. You ever seen Spider-Man 1 where it's like the amazing Spider-Man? It's like,
yeah,
it's the human spider. Get my name right. Basically,
I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna have to change that when I actually put this video out. There's time. Look, there's benefits to doing these pre-recorded. And look, now I have our name tags up. I didn't have those up initially, but yeah, happy to have you here tonight, man, for World's Biggest Collectors, episode 46. This is another pre-recorded conversation where we're just going to dig into your collection, you as a collector, your psyche around this whole like physical media collecting thing. And, just talk about you. And, you do have a YouTube channel as well. You are the Mockbuster on there. You do Blu-ray hunts. You do 4K reviews and collection hauls and all kinds of good stuff over there. So definitely everybody subscribe to his channel. That link will be down below. You're also on Instagram as well. Am I correct?
Same handle, yes. The Mockbuster.
The Mockbuster. I'm sorry, man. I hate to make these kind of mistakes. But man, what have you been what movies have you been watching recently? What have you been picking up as far as physical media wise?
Well, I got some beef with you because I finally watched Mathregan and I hated it. I'm joking. I didn't hate it.
Oh my god.
It wasn't as good as you called it the next horror icon. I'm watching this and I'm like, God damn.
Did I? You must have checked out my wife and I's review on our channel. Did I put that in the thumbnail?
And I saw it in the letterbox. I mean, it could be totally because I'm not the hugest horror fan, but like,
yeah,
I love me some horror though.
But. I didn't put a question mark, or did I put an exclamation point?
You were like the next horror icon. But I mean, people
I enjoyed Megan. All right,
people love Mathregan. It's not an E, it's a 3. Mathregan. I mean, people love Terrifier, and I didn't like that movie so much, but it's all about taste, That's why, movie watching is such a huge community thing, because like people like things, people don't like things. It's a big community.
Now, are you talking about Terrifier 2 or the first Terrifier?
I saw the first Terrifier. I didn't like it so much, so I don't know if but I'm tempted to watch the second one because I heard Chris Jericho's in it a little bit, so.
He is, but don't build yourself up to.
No, it's like
he's in a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
He's maybe in it for 5 seconds or something. But so I thought the first Terrifier movie was okay, and I thought the second Terrifier movie was okay. I do think it's a little bit overhyped by the horror community, but I would recommend watching it because there are people that don't like the first Terrifier that absolutely love the second one. So the opinions on that movie are all over the place.
Yeah, I appreciate the practical effects. There's a lot of really good practical effects for it, but it's just, just that, yeah.
They may have ripped that splitting in half sequence from the Bone Tomahawk because it's like the same. And I think that Bone Tomahawk did it better. It was more visceral and just kind of in your face.
100%.
But have you been getting any good deals on Blu-rays and 4Ks? And you are from Canada. We are going to talk about that here in a second because I know I got a lot of great Canadian subscribers that always let me know that the price of Blu-rays and 4Ks are much more expensive up there than they are down here. But what have you been collecting recently? How's your collecting habits right now? You know, we all
Recently,
go through
yeah.
phases. You know, sometimes we throttle forward on our purchases. Sometimes we go back. You know what? Where are you at right now?
Sorry for interrupting you, but
No, you're good.
recent,
Interrupt away. I
recent,
talk too much.
recently, I've gone whole hog. Can I say that? Whole hog into
Absolutely.
Kino Lorber. Kino Lorber. Oh,
Nice.
it's so
Love
good.
it.
Mainly because a lot of companies like, oh, you're in Canada. Okay, let's charge it $10 more. Here in Canada, I think it's 29.99 for Canadian for 4K Blu-ray, which is like cheaper than how much if you would convert it to USD would be cheaper than there. So I 100% get it. And I had a whole like little setup here right now
Oh,
with
I
all my
see
Kino
them.
Lorber.
Aren't those
So
spines so nice? I'm in love with Kino Lorber right now
so
too.
nice.
Did you get Death Wish on 4K?
I got Death Wish. I got
Nice.
the
Nice.
new Italian jab. Got the oh my
The
gosh.
Italian job. I got that. Yeah. I haven't opened mine. Mine still has the plastic on it.
Nice.
Um, did you get the Missing in Action trilogy with Chuck Norris? I haven't
See,
dug into these movies yet, but I'm excited to.
yeah, see, my problem is like I have so much equity in 4K. When I look at Blu-rays, even though Blu-rays can look fantastic, it's just like,
Ew,
ooh,
Blu-ray.
ew. Even though it's like totally not. I've seen Blu-rays which look better than 4Ks, but it's like I don't know. It's kind of like, do I want to buy a brand new Blu-ray for like 27.99, or I can buy a 4K for 29? So it's like, ooh,
Yeah, I definitely get that, when it comes to buying new for sure. Like the menu down here when it came out was like I think 22.99, and this weekend it was actually $60,000. I know
60,000.
this whole conversation and topic will be old by the time I will be old news by the time I put this up. But yeah, Best Buy had the menu at $60,000. I don't know if you saw this on
I saw
Instagram
I
or
saw
anything.
everywhere. Everyone's like crazy for it.
So yeah, crazy prices for the menu, but also Bones and All I think was like $30 on Blu-ray when it came out, and I was like, that's too high for a
That's
Blu-ray.
too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially for standard Blu-ray. No slipcover. Oh,
yeah.
did it come with a digital code at least? I think it did, right?
Yes, Bones and All did. I don't know if the menu did. I didn't pick up the menu yet. I saw that movie in the theater, so I don't. I liked it, but I'm not gonna watch it again anytime soon. So I'll wait till there's a sale or
What,
something.
Bones and All?
No, the menu.
The
I saw the
menu.
menu in theaters. So how my philosophy usually is, if I saw it in theaters, I will unless I just loved it, like Top Gun Maverick. I had to pick that up day one. I don't pick it up. I wait a little bit until it goes down in price a little bit. But if I didn't get to catch it in theaters, then I'll pick it up when it comes out. If it's a newer movie.
Yeah, watching movie theaters, like I used to work at the movie theater. I worked there for half a decade, and the magic is just gone because I know all of the ins and outs and the backdoor stuff that they do and the cheapo things that goes on on the movie theater thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I like having my 4K Blu-ray sitting down with my big OLED TV, no one shouting and yelling in the background. So
Yeah, I'm kind of with you these days. I'm not gonna mess around with the theaters too much more. I tried to go see Knock at the Cabin this morning, and it
yeah.
was 11:10 showtime. We got there and they said the theater was in maintenance. So we
Maintenance. Oh, wow.
we we just had to turn around and go home, and it's like an hour round trip for me to go to the theater. So that pissed
Oh
me
my
off pretty
gosh.
good. I'm not going to be going back to the theater too much more anymore. I'm just kind of done with it right now. That kind of soured me a little bit.
Yeah, because I know now like theaters are doing these membership programs, $9 a month, $10 a month. You get a free ticket and 30% off on popcorn, which they already overpriced. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
I
Uh,
want
d-
to, yeah. So go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead and ask. Oh,
I I do want to check out Knock at the Cabin in the theaters because I love me some Batista, Dave Batista, and what he's gone through, and him trying to make himself as more than just a professional wrestler.
yeah.
So I kind of want to support that, and my Shyamalan because I've actually heard really good things about
You
this new
gotta
movie.
see every Shyamalan movie. He's got his misses for sure, but he's got his hits as well. And you have to go see the M. Night Shyamalan movie because you never know which one you're gonna get. Could be
Yeah,
getting one of the greatest movies of all time, like Signs or The Sixth Sense, or you could be getting Old or The
oh,
Happening, which a lot of people would consider The Happening one of the greatest bad movies of all time.
one,
I
oh my gosh, yes.
I definitely love that movie, but I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. We need a 4K for that one for
We
sure.
need a 4K. The funny story about Happening, the first time I saw it was in at school, and basically at the end of the year they'd bring in in high school they'd bring in all of the grades to watch a movie, and for some reason we chose The Happening, and it was the best experience ever. Just a bunch of
So
corked
cool.
out high school kids watching The Happening. No, what?
No, the trees are trying to kill us. The damn trees.
I like hot dogs. Anyways,
But real quick, I wanted to talk. So you mentioned Blu-ray a little bit. Do you still collect for Blu-ray? Or are you mostly 4K now?
I'm mostly 4K, but if I can get a good deal on used Blu-rays, $2, $3, even $5, then I'll pick up a Blu-ray. But I'm not out here picking up $20 brand new Blu-rays.
Yeah.
I did last time I bought a brand new Blu-ray was Wes Anderson's. I even forgot the movie, the new Wes Anderson movie, the hotel one. Not the hotel one.
Hotel or French Dispatch?
French Dispatch. I haven't even seen it yet. It's still in the wrapper, but $20 I got.
Yeah, that was a Disney Blu-ray with no slipcover. You bought that
No
for $20?
I bought
Oh
that
my
for $20.
goodness. No, there's probably gonna be a Criterion version of that coming out at some point because it's Wes
100%.
Anderson.
Well, because I heard it was a lot of people were comparing it to the Grand Budapest Hotel, which is the only Wes Anderson film I've seen, and I love that movie. So I was like, oh, I'll pick it up.
I've seen 2 Wes Anderson movies. I have seen Grand Budapest and I've seen The Royal Tenenbaums, and I would highly recommend Royal Tenenbaums. That's a really great movie with it's got Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson and Gene Hackman. It's got a great cast.
Yeah,
So highly recommend that movie. I think Ben Stiller might be in it as well. Maybe not.
I think so. Yeah, I saw a clip of it.
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow's in it also. I'm pretty sure. But so we'll get into the pricing and stuff in Canada real quick. But what as far as like boutique labels, we talked about Kino Lorber, we talked about Criterion. How hard are those to come by up where you're at? I know. Do you have issues getting like Screen Factory or Arrow Video or anything like that?
It really honestly depends where you are. Thankfully I'm in the GTA, which is the Greater Toronto area. Toronto is like the mecca center for like media, entertainment, that stuff like that. So I there's a store called Bay Street Video, if any Canadians know of it. They have all of the brand new releases for MSRP, because usually like if you go to like a random place called Cinema One or Sunrise Records, which are all Canadian. I know all the Canadians, yeah, but those will charge up the
right now.
wazoo. They'll charge up the wazoo. So it's not that hard, but I feel like places
basically
like
that's like an
Saskatchewan,
FYE. That's like an FYE would be down here. You'll go in there like a Screen Factory for $50 or something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's all about but places like Saskatchewan, Alberta, Saskatoon, those places. Oh my gosh, it's not even. You can't even find toilet paper for under $20. So let alone a 4K Blu-ray.
Damn. I have been to Toronto one time in my life because I was in band in high school and we did a trip to Toronto. So I've been up there once, and we did Niagara Falls and visited the area. I went up in, what's it called, the CN Tower?
CN Tower, yes.
Or something. Is that what it
Canadian
is? Yeah, it's got
Tower,
like there's like a glass floor or something, I remember, up there, and you walked on it and you could look like straight down. But that's my only experience with Canada though.
Wow. I've lived in Toronto for 22 years, my entire life. I've never been to the CN Tower, but you have. It's kind of like New Yorkers in Times Square. New Yorkers never go to Times Square because it's like
when were you born?
2000.
2000. Dang, you are a youngin'. I didn't know you were.
Am I the youngest person? Have you had 4K King on before? No, right?
I have not. I need to get the 4K King on here.
I'm probably the youngest.
So when I was there, it was 2001. So yeah, you were 1 years old when I was there. Wow, I'm old. I am old. So do you collect much for the Arrow Videos and the Screen Factories and the Criterions, being as though they're so expensive?
I think I do what most normal people, not normal people, but most people within the collecting community wait for sales. Like there'll be Criterion sales. It won't be as good. Like it'll be like $30 Canadian, which is, I don't know, like 28 or something, or 29 or 27 or something like that. So it's possible to do so. But Arrow Video is usually the most expensive. Like I got RoboCop. I actually made a custom slipcover, not to toot my own horn, but I recently just made this. So I sell these, by the way. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm joking, but this copy itself, by alone, no slipcover, was $50.
Wow! Did you pay $50 for it? You had to have it, didn't you?
I had to have it because
it's RoboCop.
It's RoboCop.
It is RoboCop. It looks great in 4K too.
The steelbook was $79, so I don't know how much it's in.
Shit!
I don't know how much it's in the US, but it was 79 Canadian dollars. So that was
You don't want to know how much it was here. It was like, I don't know, $25 or something. I don't feel like it was as expensive. That big box set was in Best Buy for $33.99 when it came out,
oh,
which is like the price of like a regular 4K or something. And it was the
yeah.
big Arrow like limited edition box set.
And then y'all
Um,
have Barnes and Noble too, right? So then you'll get
Barnes.
the
So that's what I was gonna say. Do you get to do the Barnes and Noble stuff? Can you order that online or anything?
no, I don't think Barnes and Noble sells internationally. They might
They don't
have, I
ship.
don't, but I don't think so.
Can you get Criterion from the Criterion website when they do their flash sales or anything like that?
No, because what they do is they partner with local retailers and then they'll do it through there.
Yeah,
So
but
unless I want to pay, go ahead.
Kino Lorber ships to you all though, correct?
They ship, yeah. I got the
Okay.
recent Winter Wonderland, whatever it was called. I paid $20 shipping, but when you honestly get like $8 Blu-rays, like $20 4Ks, it ends up being worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, Kino Lorber. I say it all the time. They're the only boutique label that when they do a sale, it's an actual sale.
It's an
Like
actual,
it
yeah.
actually feels like you're getting a discount, like 50% off, 60% off. It's not the Criterion sales. You can get most Criterions for like 25 or $27, like all year round, on Amazon. And then the Criterion sale goes down to 20. So I mean, $5 off is good, but it's not like mind blowing or anything. I need to pick up all these Criterion titles while I can.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
they're
I can find used Criterions for like 24, which is like $18 USD. But they have to be very selective on the exact ones. A lot of the same, you know, things you come by, but it's doable.
But real quick, you talked about it briefly, but go ahead and promote your yourself and your channel and also your slipcover side business as well. Go ahead and let the people know
So
about it.
I
I'll
am,
put you on
yeah.
full screen.
So I am the Mockbuster. I am a Canadian. Woohoo! AA. I do physical media hunts. I used to do 4K reviews. I still do them, but it's just nothing really excites me. I do. I love being negative about physical media. I love to shit on really bad movies because here in Canada we spend so much. So when you give us a bad transfer, I will let my grievances be known.
One of those.
One of those. I also recently started because I am a huge lover of art and music and all that kind of stuff. So I recently started doing my own custom slip covers, and people showed interest in it. So I decided because obviously here in Canada also we have a really big problem with bilingual covers. So we'll have things. The most egregious here. I have an example actually. Look at this. Heat, tension, and it has the
Hmm.
same on the spine. So I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm pretty good with Photoshop, so I made my own. Look at that. That's pretty sexy. I'm not gonna
Ooh,
lie.
that's nice. I want that for my 4K.
So and I sell them pretty cheap, 9.99 USD. So and I have a bunch of them. This is for that, but yeah. So I sell them online and stuff like that. I have an eBay store, but I don't like eBay because they charge up the wazoo for shipping. I do a third party, which is a lot cheaper. In fact, it's cheaper to ship to the United States. It's cheaper for me to ship to somewhere in California than it is for me to ship someone in the town over because Canadian
Really?
mailing is just insane. But yeah,
Yeah, I've shipped a couple things up to Canada before, and it cost me like $25 or something to ship
oh,
something. And I'm like, geez Louise, like, is that what you all have to pay to get stuff shipped to you or to ship out to us?
to United States. I recently actually just shipped out to someone in California, my first ever sale. Shout out Undead Media. It was like $8.
$8.
But if I wanted to ship something out to another person who's actually interested in buying something from Guelph, Ontario, which is 2 cities over, it'll cost me $15. So I was like, huh?
Nice, nice. Yeah, those are some nice slip covers you got there. So, you brought up the whole French,
Mm.
writing or the French fonts, whatever you would call it, language on the alternate. Like, why did they do that? You know
It's
why
to
they do
be
that?
nice because in Canadian history, there's a lot of
So
tension between French Canada and English Canada.
French
In fact,
Canadians.
there was actually a vote to French Canadians wanted to vote off to be off of Canada. They wanted to be their own country, And I
Yeah.
think 49.9% of people voted for yes, and like 50.1 or whatever voted for no.
And
So
you all
it's
were very close to Civil War, but then you realized that you guys were just too nice for that.
it's just not, man. Yeah.
So then everybody just went the other way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I feel like what's it called? In the UK, they get shafted when it comes to their physical media releases because I did this one for what's it called? Interstellar. But if you have you ever seen a UK, you're pretty sure, right? You've seen a UK Blu-ray or 4K. If I
Yeah.
can take this out here.
I hate the little sticker things in the bottom corners. Like I don't yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah. One, two, three, four,
Like what is
five,
that?
6. Like someone told me a joke.
Like it looks like a go ahead, go ahead.
there's more parental warnings on movies than there are cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's like, geez.
It looks like my daughter got a hold of one of my 4K cases and just had a field day with like her stickers or something, just put them
Literally.
all over it. It's like, why do you? I get it. Like if you live over there, you're used to it.
Yeah.
I
But
hate the look of it to the point where like I've got a few in my collection, and I've had very generous subscribers that have sent me stuff from over there that I'm happy to have in the collection. But when I put it on the shelf, I just hate how it looks next to everything else, just with that blaring
100%.
like sticker
Especially
thing
when they're
on it.
thick. But
Yeah.
what's crazy is there's some actually really good artwork on it. Like my favorite movie of all time, Spider-Man 1, and they did this slipcover only in the UK. It looks really cool. It's just
Yeah, that's nice.
these dang 12 and up contains
Yeah,
violence and moderate fantasy. So
yeah. That is pretty interesting though what you said because I guess, you all have 2 primary languages in Canada. It's French
yeah.
and English, so that would be, I guess, a good reason to put both of those on the cover. It would just, I guess, be better to me if they had a selection of one or the other. That way,
Yeah, like
it didn't look so busy, you know?
because sometimes, like I think Sony or someone they do the basically the same language, and then it just says in a little font, includes French version.
Yeah.
Because like here in Canada, it's kind of like how you guys treat Spanish, right? Technically, there's a lot of people who speak Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
You learn it in high school. Same with in Canada, we learn French, 4 years of French. But like there's not. Like, I guess maybe there's some sects of like states or whatever that only speak Spanish. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's why we kind of get a little not to be xenophobic or something, but like we kind of get turned off by the fact that there's like it takes up so much space.
Yeah, because that's the only thing. It's not that I'm upset about the different language on there. It's just 2 titles that are just right there next to each other. It just looks too busy, for the cover. Do you want to get into the pricing of 4Ks and Blu-rays? What's your average?
Sure.
You go to the store on Tuesday and you do a lot of Blu-ray hunts and stuff. I noticed you just went to Walmart the other day and the store shelves were empty. What was up with that?
Yeah, so my favorite Walmart of all time, I do every single new release huntings there. I go there and they replace the damn sections with a bunch of air fryers.
Oh my god.
And I
Is
was
that
like,
something
"What?"
that's permanent? Like they got rid of all of it or they're
Yeah,
just moving stuff around?
they even got rid of the actual shelves that
Mm.
housed all the 4K. And it used to be like the best Walmart. Like it had a decent section of all 4K Blu-rays and all that stuff, and it just kaput all of a sudden because
My
now they're switching to Walmart. So, I mean, online.
Yeah, my Walmart's completely reverted. It's like they used to have 4Ks, they used to have a whole 4K section and Blu-rays, and now it's like they're almost all DVDs. Like there's a few Blu-rays in there, but it's like almost all DVDs in
Yeah.
my Walmart now.
Yeah.
But you go into Walmart's or wherever you go to shop for 4Ks on a Tuesday, you're trying to get a new title or you order it online. How much is a new 4K title in
Oh,
Canada?
it's never gonna be under $30, definitely. I've paid, at most $38 for a brand new
Okay.
4K Blu-ray. So it's not terrible, but it's definitely not because I remember seeing because I'm new to the collecting game. I've seen Best Buy stickers with brand new Blu-rays for $28. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing this is not a new thing, but
Yeah.
it still
And
hurts.
that's $38 Canadian. And
Canadian.
what's the conversion rate on
Is that
that?
like
Because I
32 maybe? 33, 32? It's
32
we're
US
70 cents
dollars.
on US dollar. So 1 US
Okay.
dollar is 70. Oh no, set one I don't know, 70 cents, yeah, is worth it. Yeah.
Okay. So a new 4K will be 38. So I'd say it's a little
Epic.
bit more than us because the new 4K here will be about 30 bucks. Like Black Panther Wakanda Forever comes out on 4K tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it's about $30.
Yeah, because
Um,
also one of the biggest stingers is sales tax. Here at least in
okay.
Ontario, it's 13%.
Yeah,
So
it's
on top of
6%
that, we
down
have
here.
so
But
that's
it's also
awesome.
it also varies per state. Like my
Yeah.
state is 6%, but other states are maybe higher or lower than that.
Yeah, I heard Texas is like 3 or something. I'm like, "God damn."
Yeah, I think this changed because I remember paying tax when I was in Florida a couple of months ago, but I think at one time Florida had no sales tax at all.
Oh my
Like
lord. I do that.
they had zero, no sales tax.
Need to go on
Um,
vacation.
so it's when did I go?
No, I need to go on vacation to
Oh yeah,
Florida.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
do a big
Florida's nice,
haul.
man. Disney World was nice. So it's not that doesn't sound as bad because a lot of people like will usually make it out to be, oh my God, we're paying like $50 compared to your $30. But I would
Like a
say,
steelbook, yeah. Like I
uh,
got the No Way Home steelbook for $50.
do you
So
all get the new steel books up there? Like do you have a Best Buy up there?
well, we have Best Buy and you can do stuff, but we don't get things like we don't get Lionsgate stuff. So all those cheap Lionsgate steelbooks that you get, oh, I haven't seen a
Mm,
single one of them. And it's sad because
damn.
those are really nice and I heard they're extremely affordable too.
Yeah.
So it's like,
As of right now, they're creeping up in price though. Like they keep sliding in $1 here and there and hoping people don't notice because the Warm Bodies comes out tomorrow and it's 22.99 and they were just 19.99 across the board this time last year.
dang.
But still a good price. But I can guarantee you in about a couple of years time, if they're still doing them, they'll be up to almost $30.
Well, I mean, it also equals the fact that you guys are what, 300 million in the United States?
Yeah,
300, 400, something like that. Like, I
yeah,
think the population all of Canada is less than New York. So,
really,
yeah, well, like, barely anybody here. There's like 38 million, I think, under 40 million. So that's
damn,
also what drives the market up because, less people want, even though there's a huge market here in Canada, there's a huge filmmaking market here in Canada. A lot of movies that you love and I love are filmed in Canada, Toronto,
yeah,
Vancouver. It's just, because they have to reprint it. Obviously, they do French titles and stuff like that, so it's not as profitable as in the States. So
yeah.
that's what makes it more expensive.
Good points. Good points. So what's a Blu-ray? A new Blu-ray?
27. I've seen $27 is usually is the normal
27.
price, asking price,
So that's
which is
about
crazy.
22 or something like that.
Something like that, 23, 24. I don't know. Not the
Yeah.
smartest.
I feel like that's comparable to down here. I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be. Maybe on your boutiques, it
100% on the
definitely
booty.
is. Because you said you had to pay $50 for the RoboCop Arrow video, which would have been, I guess, about $41 US.
Yeah,
Which yeah, we definitely paid less than that for the. Did you
because
say
it's imported.
70? Did you say
Sorry,
70? Did you say $70 for the steelbook?
79 just for
Oh
that
my
bare bones
god.
steelbook, not even with the hard shell. But what's crazy is that importing is what drives up the market too. Like I remember a lot of people hated my take on Scream, but they don't realize that what Scream was how much in US? Like 20 something, right?
Yeah, Scream on
22.
4K was like 20 when it came out, and it went down to like 17 within a couple of weeks
You know how much
on
I paid
4K.
for it?
How much?
49.
Mm.
$49.
Now
So
that's
when
just a
I
studio title. Didn't you had to import that one so you don't get
yeah,
all
cuz
the new studio releases that come
we
out?
don't no, cuz I think who released
Paramount put that out.
Paramount. Yeah, I think some Paramount titles we don't get for some reason.
Really?
I don't
Did you
know.
get Top Gun?
We got
Maverick?
Top Gun, yeah. It's extremely limited though. Like every time I go to a Walmart, I'm like, oh, I can't wait because everyone's like, Mockbuster, do a review on Top Gun Maverick. It's gonna blow your brains out. And every time I go to Walmart, I can never find it. So
Really? Did you ever get
I'll have
Top Gun Maverick?
no, I still haven't gotten it. It's one of
Um,
those elusive 4K titles that everyone says, but that's like 32 before tax, so it's probably
yeah.
$40 Canadian. So
Which Scream were you talking about? Were you talking about the new
the
Scream or were you
first
talking
one,
about the first one? Okay.
the first Scream. I also got I got ripped online because I gave it like a 7 out of 10 or something like that. So everyone's like,
Well,
what the fuck?
that are you talking about the movie or the transfer? You're talking about the transfer, right?
I'm talking about both.
Well, that wasn't
Actually,
a
I give the transfer like a 6, actually.
I mean, I'd say like I would have probably gave it like I don't really like use like numbers for scoring, but I would have probably gave it like a 7 or an 8. Like that's pretty it was
Yeah.
decent. It wasn't like mind-blowing or nothing. Like it was fine. It was like your standard par for the course Paramount transfer.
Yeah.
Um I think that Scream 2 is actually better than the Scream transfer, to be honest. I thought it looked a lot
Interesting.
better.
I
than the
got them all
first
on
Scream.
Blu-ray for like $5.
But if you're talking
So
about 90s slashers that came out on 4K within the past couple of years, I Know What You Did Last Summer on 4K by Sony was top tier. That blew both Screams out of the water. That was like a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
wow,
For
really?
4K transfer, like that looked great. So if you can ever get your hands on that one, that's a great release. I know what you did last summer isn't as iconic as Scream is,
Still
but
is though.
the movie actually grew on me when I rewatched it though. I kind of like
Yeah.
that. I didn't like it as much back in the day, but I like it now.
I haven't
Um,
seen it. The only thing I've heard it referenced was in Scary Movie. So
yeah, they do a lot of I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scary Movie. I feel like they do even more of that than they do Scream.
yeah, it was.
But
Go ahead.
I was gonna
I
say
was just
I have a problem with watching I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream now because when I watch those movies, I can't take them seriously because I always see the characters in those movies. I always see the
eggs.
characters from I know from Scary Movie instead.
I was gonna say because I was introduced to those characters like Ghostface and whatever through Scary Movie because
Yeah,
I was 2000, grew up in the early 2000s, and those movies were all over the place. So
yeah,
when I first watched these Scream movies, I'm like, oh, that's the what's up guy. So
yeah. And Jennifer Love Hewitt's out there. She's like, "Oh my god!" And they're like looking at the body, and I can just hear Shannon Elizabeth's voice. "Oh my god, we hit a boot. Where's the foot? Where's the foot?" Um, but yeah, it's let's see. What do I want to get into next? What's the state of your collection right now, man? How much you got in your
uh,
collection? How's it organized? Are you doing pretty good as far as organization and stuff?
definitely not. I actually removed a bunch of 4Ks from my shelf because I didn't want to look as disorganized. Like it was basically how this Blu-ray shelf looks like. I just want to look nicer for the guys at home, for the people at home.
Yeah.
But like I think I'm probably the person who has the least amount of Blu-rays that you've interviewed so far. I think I have about 1,000 in total.
A
So I know
thousand's
you've
a pretty good amount. I would say to a normal everyday person, that's
yeah, but like
pretty good size collection. Yeah, I mean I don't know how much I've got right now. I need to do a recount. It's at least 2,000 or something
eh,
like that, but it might be more
it's
than that.
probably like 6 times to be honest.
The last time
Because
I
if this is
legit
1,000, this is like literally just like one little sliver on your collection.
The
So
last time I legitimately counted was a couple of years ago, and I was at 1,600, and, I'm I don't know if I've doubled it or not. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
probably, yeah. You don't
That
use
would
the
be
Blu-ray?
insane. That would be
Don't use the
insane if I had.
Blu-ray.com app?
No, I don't. Everybody tells me there's all these great apps and stuff. That takes a lot of time to go through
It
and
does. But, like, as a
scan
collector, I'm like,
everything.
I love just looking at my shelf and then, putting it in the app and then looking at it again. Oh, yeah.
So you use the Blu-ray.com app? I think that's the
Yep.
one I started to use, but everybody was trying to point me in the direction of all these other apps and stuff, and some of them you have to pay for, and I'm like, "I'm not
Oh,
paying
no.
uh,
Blu-ray.com is free.
for
And it
that."
tells you when the deals are too, so it's like it's a lot better than the actual website, in my opinion, when it
Yeah.
comes to that kind of stuff.
I
New
think I
releases
still
and
have
stuff.
the app downloaded. For whatever reason, whenever I'm looking on Blu-ray.com, I always just go to the site, and I never use the app. I should start using the app more. I don't know why, I just
The
always
user interface is, like, so much better.
yeah, I need to use the app more then. But getting into just you as a collector, man, where did this whole collection? Because you're, a younger guy, so you're honestly grew up in the generation of streaming and stuff.
Streaming
So
well, kind of, not really, like, by the time Netflix I'm gonna sound, like, stupid, but, like, by the time Netflix was huge and everything like that, I was, like, what, 11 years old? Even though that sounds
yeah,
like, "Oh, you're 11, you're still a kid." But,
yeah,
like, I have older parents, my dad was born 1960, so we had a shit ton of VHS. I remember having
yeah.
those big tubs of VHSs you just go through and stuff like that.
So
Uh,
that's where it comes from then, your parents, because no,
yeah,
most people in their 20s and stuff, they'd be like physical media. It's like I got Netflix and Hulu. What am I worried about? Owning movies on 4K. They don't have like appreciation for this stuff. I don't feel like.
100%. And I'm thinking I'm like one of the only people who still buy video games physically. I know a lot of people download them, but here in Canada, they started putting sales tax on digital items. So it's like,
Yeah,
what's the point? I'd rather just buy it physically.
yeah, yeah. I
But
think
yeah,
with video games, I don't play a lot of video games anymore. I was really into games probably from the Xbox 360 era till the Xbox One came out, I guess. And I had a PS3 and a Wii and all that stuff, but For some reason, I don't mind downloading video games. I don't mind like owning them. I own a lot of video games physically, obviously too. But for me nowadays, when you buy a game physically, that doesn't mean anything anymore. Like you still have to download it and everything
Yeah.
else. So I was like, if I still
Well,
got to download it, I might as well just
to be fair,
download it.
the disc holds half the space. Like
Yeah.
I've bought in digital games where it's like 100 and whatever gigabytes, but on the disc it's like 50. So
Okay, so it is less because I was in the impression that it was exactly the same. If I was
no,
on
it's way less.
digital,
Yeah.
okay, okay, yeah. My son plays. I forget what he was playing the other day. He plays Fortnite and Roblox and all that stuff
The
most of
kid
the time.
stuff, yeah.
Uh,
Minecraft.
Minecraft, those are all real big. But he was playing a legitimate game the other day, and I forget what the hell he was playing. Um, but I was like, damn, if you play more of this type of stuff, I'd get back into gaming with you. I just can't do the Fortnite stuff.
Not the Fortnite. It's too much.
I'm not a Fortnite player. So when did you start, adopting the collection mentality?
Uh
Is something that
on
happened recently?
Yeah, I think I started YouTube is when I actually started collecting was July of 2021. Thanks to you, I started watching your
Me?
videos, and I'm
Was
like,
it
"Wow,
me, really?
I love this guy. Now I'm gonna spend." Yeah, you're the reason why I've spent thousands of dollars on physical media. So screw you.
Wow.
Yeah, people like you, people like the Flick Pick. Even though he doesn't really do that much that like hunting content
Yeah,
anymore,
that's who I started
that kind of
watching
stuff.
too.
But yeah, I just love because I love the community. I love people like looking around, picking up things. Wow, look at this. So I just love that aspect of it. It's kind of like we've grown up to be like it's basically show and tell, but now we're adults. So
Yeah.
and I love show and tell as a kid. So
Well, happy to see my whole mission is working. I'm influencing the youth of not only
yes,
America, but Canada as well. Uh, with what
worldwide.
with my blur. But I'm sorry, man. I hate to be a bad influence on you.
It's okay.
I really do. But you grew up. You said your parents had VHS tapes. They had DVDs. So this is something that you kind of always been around. So did even before July of 2021? Is this something that you knew you wanted to do? Did you collect anything else? Like you said, you were into collecting video games. Um,
Yeah, because for the longest time, what's it called? There was no such thing as unlimited internet. So if I wanted to watch a movie on Netflix, that was gonna cost so many gigabytes of internet. So
yeah.
the best way to watch a movie, I'd be spending more on internet fees than buying a DVD or a Blu-ray. So I'd end up buying Blu-rays, and then that would basically be the only reason to watch or to only way to watch a movie was to watch it through a physical media release. So that's how I really got because I've been around it, and then obviously I started watching during COVID. I started watching Blu-ray YouTubers and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to do this.
It gets addicting, for sure. I forget. I think I started watching Flick Pick was one of the first ones that I saw because I didn't even know there was a community of people talking about movies on YouTube, much less physical media. So the first channels I subscribed to, I think it was around the time the new Star Wars movies were coming out, and I was just really into them and wanted to check out more like conversations on them. So I discovered all like the big movie YouTubers like the Flick Pick and Chris Stuckman and
Yeah.
Collider and Screen Junkies and all that stuff. And then I think Chris Stuckman and Flickpick did the Blu-ray hunting stuff. So I
Yeah.
started watching that. And then that led me into other people like Cool Duder and Wet Movie One and Durant Cinema. And I was like, this stuff seems pretty fun. It's like if I at the time the idea of doing a YouTube channel was just like so far out there for me. I was like, there's no way I could do what these guys are doing. I have no on-screen presence. I cannot do this at all.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember watching your old videos and you're talking. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to swear. You're
no,
like talking about like a DVD and like, oh, we got your DVD of Wally. I'm like, oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah. Like yeah, that was the first video I did. I didn't even show my face. It was just me and my son doing an unboxing. So I was like, there's no way I could do what they do. But if I did do YouTube and stuff, that would be the kind of content I would want to make. The Blu-ray hunting and stuff. It just seemed the most fun to me. So that's how I got hooked as well by all these physical media YouTubers and stuff. And I bought the Wonder Woman steelbook, the first one. Was the first steelbook I ever bought, and then I started watching a bunch of unboxings of it, and then that led me into a bunch of other physical media channels. And I still watched a lot of those for years before I even decided to start my own thing. Really, in 2019, 2020 is when I really got started. But yeah,
Nice, yeah. Yeah, you've
Definitely.
blown up. I remember you posted that what's it called? Your year-end results, and it's like 13,000 or something like that. It was like a crazy amount, like 10,000 or something like that. I'm like, wow, this guy. I
Yeah,
remember this. I remember when this guy was 1,000.
it's crazy. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. But you know, I'm thankful. Thankful for every view and subscriber for sure. But um let's see. What were some of the first 4Ks and Blu-rays that you
Uh,
added to the collection?
so I've been steadily buying Blu-rays. Like you go to Walmart, you see the $5 Batman or Batman Returns. So, but
Did
that
you
wasn't really
start off
collecting.
very slow or
Hunt.
did you go gung ho into it from the beginning?
So my first ever, so I guess so just like buying Blu-rays, I didn't buy Blu-rays like collecting. I was like, oh, it's $5 here, $5 there, whatever. But then last summer or summer before, I guess 2021 July, I saw all these people talking about Blu-rays and buying them, and then I went to my local grocery store, and right at the popcorn section, they also had movies section. So they had like Dunkirk, 1917, some pretty good titles. So I decided to pick them, and they're like $4.99. So that was
Yeah.
my first haul video, and then I'm like, oh, those thrift stores and those secondhand stores, they sell Blu-rays too. And I'm like, what? And then basically my first ever hunting video was from Goodwill and that kind of stuff. So that's how it ballooned up. And then you go to your flea markets and you find the $4, $3 Blu-rays and you just gather a bunch of them. So that's how it really kicked off. So my first Blu-ray was Dunkirk, and my first 4K was I was so naive. I was like, oh, those Star Wars movies should look pretty good. Like the first three, not the first three. I mean, episode 4, 5, 6. I guess first three.
Yeah,
But those,
I would count those as the first three.
like, I know a lot of people say, "You mean episode 1, 2, 3? You mean episode 4, 5, 6?" I'm like, God damn! I remember my mind being blown because like I didn't grow up with either like I guess I grew up with the prequels, but
Yeah,
when
you would have
people
been
told me, it's
born
like,
during the prequel run.
yeah, people were like, episode 1 is actually like the fourth movie, and I'm like, what? So I was like, how is that possible? But it
So
says
when you
episode
watched
1.
Star Wars for the first time, did you watch the prequels first and then you watched 4, 5, and
Yeah,
6? Did
100%.
you?
Because like I'm in kindergarten, everyone's wearing those like what's his name? Jake Lloyd? Those Jake Lloyd backpacks and stuff like that, and those Darth
People
Maul
had
back.
Jake Lloyd backpacks?
Yeah, I think
They
I
sold
have
those?
one like somewhere in my closet. Yeah, like Jake
I'm
Jake Lloyd in the pod, in the what's it called? Those pod
Yeah,
racing
the
things.
pod racers. Now
Yeah,
this is pod racing. I'm not gonna lie. I do love the Phantom Menace.
I love it so much.
There was a game. I don't know how far back you go in gaming. Did you have a Nintendo 64?
Yes, I bought it after the fact, obviously, but yeah.
Okay, so they had a game called Episode 1 Racer, and it
Mm,
was, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. It was basically like a Mario Kart or something like that, but it was with pod racing. It was the pod racing, and it was the funnest game ever, and I played it so much. Probably played it more than Mario Kart. But yeah,
yeah,
I'll always have a fondness for that movie.
they remastered it for the PS4.
Did they?
Yeah, it's like super cheap. So I was like, oh,
Wow. I need to check that out for sure.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
that was one
people.
of my favorite
Yeah.
games.
But, like, talking about YouTube and, like, reviewing things, I think people started getting their own like their opinions, like, everyone just started hating on things just because it would get views, like, even I noticing if I talk about the worst 4K Blu-ray, it'll get way more views than talking about the best 4K Blu-ray. So people
Yeah.
started over hating, movies just in general, and then it gets a bit toxic, like, when I say, "Oh, I love Spider-Man 3," or, "Oh, I love Phantom Menace," people are like, "Oh, you have such terrible taste in movies," so
Yeah. I
it's a good thing and a
always
bad thing, so
I always knew growing up that the prequels weren't as good as the originals because I saw the originals first and, you know, I loved them, but I still enjoyed the prequels a lot. And it wasn't until I got on YouTube and social media that I realized that people just view those movies as some of the worst movies ever made. I think people are looking back on them more fondly now that we
yeah.
have the new trilogy, and that's easily the worst trilogy now, in my opinion. There's some good movies in there, but as a
Yeah,
trilogy,
as
it's
a trilogy, yeah, because I'll say as a duology, maybe it'd be bad because I know a lot of people love Force Awakens,
I
so
do, but those and I'm not even somebody that hates The Last Jedi. Like I really liked The Last Jedi when I saw it in the theaters, but Rise of Skywalker just ruined everything for me. And I can't even go back and watch Force Awakens anymore because it's like you guys are literally building and leading to nothing. You had no idea what you were doing. And this is just such a trilogy that's just non-cohesive and just
yeah.
it has nothing to do with one another. They're all separate parts
Too many hands in the cookie jar is what ruins movies. Always what ruins movies. Look what happened to freaking Spider-Man 3. Now, say what you will about Spider-Man 3. The first hour, fan-freaking-tastic. Then you introduce Topher Grace, because Mustafa Akkad, not Mustafa Akkad, sorry, Alec, someone, the person over at the producer at Marvel was like, yeah, but we need Venom. Kids love Venom. And Sam Raimi's like, I don't know Venom. He started in the 90s. I was 40 years old in the 90s. I didn't watch that stuff. So there's a lot of heart within the Hobgoblin, a lot of heart within the Sandman story, and then it's just like Venom. So it's like the first hour is great. I still think it's a good movie, especially compared to these.
I like Spider-Man 3. I love the score in Spider-Man 3. I think it's the best music of the three movies, and it's not scored by Elfman. It's Christopher Young, and that's the same guy.
Is it not? Wow.
No, it's not Elfman. It's Christopher Young, who also did the Hellraiser movies. And when you listen to the score of Spider-Man 3 and you listen to the score of Hellraiser, like you can tell, like
the Sandman theme, the eerie, like
it's such great music though. Like I love the music in that movie. But yeah, I'll agree. Like you cut Venom out, it's definitely a much.
It's just an 8 out of 10 at least.
But what I was going to say about the prequel trilogy, say what you want about it, but there's an actual like through line in the story, and it's a complete narrative, and it's a very focused narrative, and it actually makes sense, and all those movies feel like they belong together.
And you know what? It feels like there's passion behind it. Like I rewatched Phantom Menace after like over a decade of not seeing it. I'm like, dude, there's really good heart in this movie. Like this is like a fantastic kids movie, you know? Because I know George Lucas has gone on to say, you know, Star Wars is for kids. It's meant to be for kids.
He's like everybody's all these like 20 and 30-year-olds complaining about Jar Jar Binks, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, I made these movies for kids, so deal with it, you whiny man babies.
Because like even what's called that time period was like the silly. Like I watched what's it called? What's that movie called? The not Christmas Chronicles, the Christmas Claus, Santa Claus.
Yeah,
and you saw those like really bad CGI reindeer and they're farting. I made a little shorts on it. It's like that was the humor.
You're talking about the Tim Allen Santa Claus?
I think it's Santa Claus 2. The marriage clause or whatever, the wife clause or something like that, Mrs. Claus or something like that.
Yeah, and, I grew up with the Santa Claus movies. I love those movies. No, well, I don't want to say movies. I love the first one. I like the second one. The third one's an atrocious piece of shit.
Third one's pretty, and it had so much good. So Martin Short, you have Tim Allen. I just wish, why can't we have Christmas movies where it's all fun? We could be Santa Claus. We can give presents. Why has there got to be this extra thing that makes me nervous and makes me anxious? Oh no, there's no more Santa Claus.
Yeah,
just want a 90-minute movie of just Santa Claus happiness. Yeah. There probably is a movie out there, but
I'm trying to think of one. Well, I was going to say Miracle on 34th Street, but the Santa Claus is drunk in that movie. So, no, not that one either. All right, trying to see where I want to go next. We talked about your history with collecting. We talked about where do you get your passion for movies in general? Where does that come from?
I was taken at a young age to movies, not just taken. I was taken to go to see movies.
Dragged by your arm.
Yeah, I have a photo of me during the hype around Spider-Man 1, like outside of a McDonald's in like a mall, and there's like a random guy wearing like 1960s Spider-Man costume, and I'm so nervous to meet him. And then I remember watching it in the theaters, and like I don't know if you've ever felt this, where you've watched a movie and you're walking down the stairs and you're like, my life has changed. I am now Spider-Man. Like that feeling of just invigoration. It's like, wow, this is what cinema does to people. And I just got hooked ever since. I remember begging my parents every week to see the new movie, see the new Spy Kids or whatever kids bullshit movie that was coming out. So ever since then.
Did you ever see that? What was that movie with Kurt Russell? Sky High or something? Is that what it was called?
Yes, Sky High. Oh my gosh.
Somebody told me to watch that a couple of years ago, and I did, and that's a really good movie, but it's one I avoided because during that era, the era you're talking about with Spy Kids and stuff, I was like in my teenage years, so I was too cool to watch kids movies and stuff. So there was a lot of like those type of movies that I missed out on. So now getting to go back and watch. I need to watch the Spy Kids movies because I've never.
Have you seen Zoom with Tim Allen? Zoom.
I don't think so. I don't even think I've heard of that movie.
Wow, Zoom. It's like Zoom. Yeah, it's like basically Tim Allen is this really fast guy. He's basically Flash, and he has a brother who's like whatever, and then he becomes a bad guy, and then they defeat him, and they put him in this like kind of like rock encasing, but they realize that the rock encasing is cracking open, so they need to find another hero team, and then they bring in a bunch of kids. I can't name the actors because I'm terrible with actor names, but there's a lot of like child actors that you probably know from the early 2000 Disney movies. It's a pretty fun movie. It's not good, but like it's really heartwarming and stuff like that. So I recommend Zoom.
I'll have to check out Tim Allen, huh? Yeah, I didn't.
Tim
Yeah, I didn't know he did a movie called Zoom. I'll have to check that out. There's a lot of those movies though, just from the 2000s that I missed out on, like the movie that was directed by Jon Favreau, the Zathura or whatever is it called?
Yeah, something like that.
Zathura, and it's basically like a Jumanji in space, is how people describe it. I've never seen that one either.
I haven't seen that, no.
But yeah,
a lot of good kids movies in the like I think the 90s, maybe a little bit of the 80s, but the 90s and the early 2000s were great for kids movies. Have you seen Bridge to Terabithia? Oh,
nope, that was in that era too. I never watched that. I did watch I don't know if you call these kids movies, but I thought of them as kids movies when I watched them. But the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, those are kids movies. 100%.
I kind of viewed those as kids movies. I didn't remember liking those as much. And I watched some of the Harry Potter movies, but I still have not seen like 5 Harry Potter movies. I've only seen like the first 3 Harry Potter movies, so I really have to go back in there and finish those up as well.
I think Harry Potter is one of my favorite franchises. Again, I haven't seen them in such a long time, but as a kid, oh my lord, like I love them so much. I even made my like when I first bought this, it only came like this. Oh shoot, it only came like this, very boring because I got it for sale. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'm making custom stuff. I took the Walmart Harry Potter 8 film collection, and I just formatted it to fit my needs.
That's nice. And yeah, everybody that's watching, again, I have the Mockbusters links down below in the description. His YouTube and his Instagram. You have a TikTok yet? You doing the TikTok?
I do have a TikTok. I think I have like 800 followers, but that was when I was doing metal content. Like if you can see my I used to do death metal. Yeah, I used to be a death metal singer. I still kind of am. I just don't do it anymore because it wasn't really heating results. Like I know in the United States there's so many bands out there, so many people doing gigs and stuff, but where I'm located in Mississauga, Ontario, everyone wants to be the next Drake or stuff or The Weeknd. So it's really hard to find a drummer. That's what I was saying. Like, damn,
I was gonna say Cannibal Corpse is from my day. It's from my era. They still doing stuff?
100%. Yeah, they released a new album a couple years ago. It's fantastic. I think it's better than their old stuff.
They used to have a song called like IP Blood or something.
Can we say it?
It was something different, wasn't it?
It was I Come Blood.
Okay. Mine was the cleaner version. Yeah, I think I've listened to them. I used to listen to a lot of metal and stuff back in the day. I used to listen to like Hatebreed and Lamb of God and some of those other bands back in the early 2000s and stuff when they were popping. But I don't know. I just I don't really listen to a ton of music in general anymore, unless it's like from the 80s and 90s and it's like stuff I'm nostalgic for. I don't listen to a lot of the new stuff though.
I know, because like back in the day, you go to school, you're on the bus, you take your Walkman, you listen to your new CD or something like that. But now it's like, I don't know, unless you have I know a lot of people like if you're a delivery driver or Uber driver or whatever, I guess you have time to either like listen to a podcast or listen to music. But I've noticed myself, I'm like, I don't really listen to music because I'm either watching a video or like doing something else or working or whatever. So yeah, I miss listening to music.
Yeah, I'm either watching YouTube or listening to a podcast or I'm doing something else. But every now and then I'll get a wild hair at my butt and I'll be like, I want to listen to this, these couple songs that I remember from back in the day, and I'll pop in some like Incubus. I think I was listening to the other day. I used to be a huge fan of.
Which one?
Incubus.
Which Incubus?
There's only one Incubus band, right? Is there 2?
Well, I'm gonna be like a super nerd, but yeah, there used to be a death metal band called Incubus. I'm guessing it's not the death metal. And then
it's not the death metal. No,
it's the alt rock band,
popular.
Right?
It's the popular band.
Popular, yeah. And they're like, hey man, we're also Incubus, so change your name. So they changed their name. So that's why I like Incubus. I like the song "Pardon Me," but I don't like the fact that they kind of sued their way into changing another band's name, even though the other band has been there since like the 80s or something. So
really,
yeah,
they did that. Oh my goodness! Like, no, we're the sex demon that comes in your dreams.
Yeah, we're the real Incubus.
We're the real Incubus. Well, I'm sure that other band said, "Well, pardon us," while we burst into flames, and then they changed their name. Anyway, let's see. How important to you is it to have the movies that you love in the best possible formats? How important is it to you to have the movies that you grew up with, not on streaming, not just on streaming, but in your actual collection?
It means everything to me. One, because I'm a huge fan of cinema, so it's not only the fact that I get it in the best possible quality, but it's the fact that I get bonus features. A lot of bonus features are gone by the wayside nowadays. People don't care because it's either on YouTube or just no one really gives a shit. You know, everyone's posting their behind the scenes on Instagram, little snippets or whatever. But like back in the day, we used to get 2-3 hour behind the scene documentaries. That's also why I still collect DVDs, even though it's not the best quality. Some of those bonus features you'll never see again. Same like with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. If you don't have you do have that DVD box set which comes with all three.
I used to have all three, and I sold them all. So
Yeah, those are the only ways to see all of the bonus features because I heard the new 4K, even the Blu-ray, they don't really come with that much bonus features.
yeah, I regret it, but in 2016 I sold off all my DVD collection. I had like 600 or 700 DVDs, and I sold them all to half price books for
I mean, you can
100.
probably find them really cheap. I know. I guess
Yeah,
like
I have rebuilt a little bit of it. I'm back up to like 200 DVDs, but I'm not like actively collecting for DVDs. I just when I find something that's cool and like half price, I will not spend over $1 on a DVD. But
Yeah, I kind of want to do what Huck's Pop Culture Cafe does. How he like consolidates all of his, so he puts the
yeah,
DVD with the Blu-ray with the 4K. I kind of want to do that
yeah,
because I don't like having space with DVDs. I kind of want to use that space for 4Ks because
yeah,
I'm whole hogging to 4Ks now. But I kind of like those bonus features, those disc threes, those disc fours that come with the DVD. Because
yeah.
nowadays you don't get that anymore.
Did you get those like the I think Walmart was selling them, but the 4K Blu-ray DVD combo packs with the digital code as well that
Oh my
people were
god,
showing off?
is that a
Did you
thing? I've never seen that
They're
before.
like in a case that looks like a DVD case, but they had 4K. They were 4K Blu-ray DVD digital code
Yeah,
combo packs,
I saw that on
and
Reddit. I think that's only an American thing. I don't think we got that.
I never saw them in my stores, but I saw a bunch of YouTubers showing them off, and they were like 15 bucks. And I think they had like Interstellar was the only one that I can remember off the top of my head. But they looked cool, but I was like, why would you need all those formats? For
Just
unless there was
features
like
your opinion.
different things about each disc, like maybe the DVD had different features. I have no idea, but
Yeah, because it's crazy the fact that so many people are still buying DVDs. And if you go on the Reddit DVD collector forum, so many people are extremely like not insane, but like really passionate about collecting DVDs and only buying DVDs. And like I think I saw a person who bought Dune, the new Dune movie on DVD, and I'm like, how? Why is that? Like
how are
what?
you
No,
passionate about buying DVDs? How does that happen? They're just like
it,
they just refuse. I'm not watching anything in Blu-ray or 4K.
yeah, and it's crazy because like I'll
What's
make
the reasoning?
they don't care. I guess they care, but it's like they don't see maybe the difference. Because I remember I would make a 4K Blu-ray video like, oh, this Blu-ray sucks, and then people are like, yeah, 4K sucks, Blu-ray sucks. Why would you need that if we can just buy DVDs? And I'm like, what? That's not what I'm saying at all. So
I 100% get some people saying I don't need 4K. Blu-ray's fine. Because a lot of Blu-rays are fine. And a lot of movies look really good on Blu-ray. And maybe you don't have the best eyesight or something. You're getting a little bit older and you just don't care anymore
early
about that
onset
kind of stuff.
glaucoma.
But there is such a big difference between DVD and Blu-ray. Like it's insane. Like I
Yeah,
cannot even watch a DVD anymore. Like if I have to, I will. But if I pop in a DVD on my 65 inch, the thing looks terrible.
yeah.
I can barely watch it.
You recently got the OLED, eh? I saw
I
that and I was
did.
like,
I got
I
that
think
OLED
I was
finally.
talking to you about it, and I'm
Finally.
like, you better. Which one did you get? The C2 or something like that,
The
or the G1?
C2. The
Yeah, I told you to
C2.
get the C2 because I'm like, don't get the A1 or whatever because it's even though it's the same kind of screen, they use cheaper materials and the burn-in is more
Yeah.
receptive, whatever. It's more easier to get burn-in on those kind of things, on those cheaper ones. So
I've had people
you
tell
won't
me
know.
I need to get it professionally calibrated. Did you get your TV professionally calibrated?
I did because I'm an asshole, but you know, I know a lot of like you don't need to. There's a lot of really good online tips for free, like
Yeah.
Artings or Stop the FOMO, I think, or whatever. But people have done really good, and if you're getting a new OLED, it's for the most part, it's already kind of calibrated to the point.
Yeah, like I've messed with I was messing with the settings a lot. Like every movie I would try to cater it to my liking. And now I've just kind of stopped that and I just, will put it in the 4K and watch it based on whatever my settings are right now. And
Yeah.
most of them have been pretty good that I've watched recently. Like Death Wish on 4K I thought looked incredible.
Mm.
Um but yeah, I had some people tell me I need to get it professionally calibrated, so I didn't know if I was missing out,
You
seriously
don't
missing
need
out on
to.
something.
It's nicer, but it's not like, dude.
Well,
Oh,
what are they doing that I can't do myself? It's just that
it's
they know
it's
how to move the knobs differently or they can get it exactly where it needs to be.
it's literally just the color accuracy. So if you don't really see that much of a difference, then it doesn't really matter because they'll come in like they have this really like tiny device that's like goes microscopic into the RGB lighting situations and they switch it based on the accuracy of the
So
lumen
they
level.
are doing something that I cannot do,
Well, you
right?
can do it, but like for the most part, for the TV that we have, the OLED
Yeah.
C2 and the C1, it's so good you barely even need to do that. Because
Yeah.
I thought, oh, if you buy a TV that's over $1,000, it's going to be good. But I bought some really bad LG TV, which was like $1,300, and it was terrible. So yeah,
Yeah.
I recommend everyone if you're really serious about watching movies of the best possible quality, especially nowadays when tickets are insanely priced, people are really not nice, especially with the movie watching experience. I'd recommend going all out and getting an OLED.
So you started buying 4Ks back in 2021, right?
Yeah, 2021. Yeah,
And then
because
I guess you just kind of dove into all the technical aspects of it and just figured out exactly how you wanted
yeah,
your TV to
because
look and everything like that.
have you ever been to the because I've experienced it. Have you ever been to the movies and you see some guy just walk in, look at it, walk out? Has that ever happened to you? So
Yeah, like somebody that works there.
yeah, so I used to do that. I used to make sure that everything was in focus,
My
everything
my
was
wife was just talking about that because we did a live stream, and she was like, "That stuff creeps me out every time somebody does that."
I
Yeah,
have to
so
come in
there's
with
a
the
reason for it. Go ahead and share with
yeah.
me the reason.
So I have to come in with the clipboard to make sure everything's in focus, everything's nice, the audio sounds good. So for 5 years, I was like super, super like intense about it. So I
Okay.
take that experience with that and then put it into 4K Blu-ray watching and stuff like that.
Yeah, because when I was first getting into this stuff, like I looked at a 4K and I was like, okay, I can tell a little difference, I think. And it's like I
Yeah.
didn't really like know exactly what I was looking for in the quality aspect of it. And I would say I pretty much more or less stayed that way until about 2020, and then I just really started diving into stuff. I started watching more review videos and really getting into the technical aspects of the 4Ks. Then I started doing reviews of my own. I was like, started to figure things out and like what to look for a little bit better with the 4K transfers and all that. So
Yeah. And it all comes down to the restoration process. Like you can't like it's just a format at the end of the day. Like you can find like if it comes to CDs or vinyl, you can find one vinyl which was masterfully produced like the Thriller, the Michael Jackson Thriller, beautiful sounding, and then you go to like some Norwegian black metal album that they recorded in their basement. Even though it's both on vinyl, obviously they're going to sound a lot different. So
yeah,
like Platoon is one of my highest viewed videos because everyone agreed with me on how bad that was. Even
yeah.
Heat, even though I liked Heat, it was just what happened to why is it so dark? I don't know, you did a video on that, but I don't remember what did you think about Heat.
I didn't have my OLED by this time, so maybe I need to
Oh yeah.
revisit Heat on 4K because I heard from a lot of people. I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought it looked really good. But again, I didn't
Yeah.
have my OLED even by that point. But it was very dark. And I
Yeah.
remember like sitting on my floor, like closer to the TV so I could make out certain things. I had the lights off and everything. But I thought that it looked good. Like the sequences that stood out to me really stood out. So I
Yeah.
still enjoyed it, but I feel like I would enjoy it a lot more now if I watched it on my OLED because I feel like that the contrast would be definitely more apparent and easier to see stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
It's also a very stylistic movie where there's a lot of blue overtones. So that
Yeah.
was one of my biggest gripes with it, is that even though it looks good, it's just if you're expecting a lot of really good vibrancy, a lot of really good natural skin tones, you're not going to get that. Everything looks like
Yeah.
it's like mid-afternoon, even like bright scenes look dark. So
And once I got into the whole like story of Michael Mann and how this was the way that he originally intended the movie to look, and all these
mm,
years on DVD and Blu-ray, like that's not
you
how
can't
he
really
originally wanted the color timing and all that stuff to look. And now he's finally getting to see his vision on 4K. And so I was like, well, if that's the way he intended it to look, then that's the way he intended it to look. So people got to respect that, I guess.
I
But
guess so, yeah. Because my reviews are basically on the general watching of 4K Blu-rays. Because a lot
yeah,
of people aren't really convinced, so I like to recommend movies that even if you don't really care for 4K or even if you don't care for the movie, it'll look fantastic. Because even though I know there's a lot of movies that are very stylistic that don't really translate, that'll look fantastic in that context, but in the context of just natural 4K review or 4K movie watching, it won't be as good.
we'll get into that because there was another one that everybody was complaining about was too dark. Did you watch Friday the 13th on 4K?
Yes, that was
What
just
did you think of that one?
I thought there was some really good scenes. There was so many amateurish aspects to it. The fact that the white levels are overblown. I didn't like I hated it so I didn't hate it, but it was my number one or number two most disappointing 4K release of the year, and I returned it to Amazon. I'm like,
Mm,
I'm gonna get my $25.99 back because this was lazy. The HDR did nothing for it, even though there's really nice black levels and there's some really good detail to it. The
yeah.
Scream Factory box set is what you pay what's it called? You pay $60 more. You get all those movies and with better detail and better contrast. So I was like,
Yeah.
get my money back.
Yeah. I hope that they do. Well, I don't know. Part two and part three and part four in 4K
Yeah,
because
because
they
those
have
have
4K
4K.
scans for
Yeah.
those. I would love to see Jason Takes Manhattan in 4K. That one would look fantastic.
Yeah,
Uh, go
I was,
ahead.
I was gonna say I saw your ranking for your Friday 13th, and I'm like, oh my lord! But again, it's everyone's
A
taste,
lot of
right?
people,
Like
I bet.
I'm a
Well, that
I'm a I'm a big fan of Freddy versus Jason because that was the first ever slasher horror movie that I ever saw. So that has a nice place in my heart. So, and I know people hate that movie. So
well, I always
it
tell
depends
people
on.
like, we just talked about it, but I grew up. I didn't know what people's opinions were on Friday the 13th. I just watched the movies and enjoyed the ones that I enjoyed, and it wasn't until I got on the internet I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to like Jason Takes Manhattan or Jason Goes to Hell. Everybody says those are trash and they hate them. I was like, those are
Yeah.
two of my favorites.
Are
So when
you
I
a
did my
part of?
ranking, I made sure to put those in the top three. Uh, Maybe I was trying to poke, the audience a little bit. Maybe I would put part four above them. I don't know, but I still really love those movies, even though I'll admit they're not as good as part four,
Are you a
or
part of
part
the?
five.
Are you a part of the Friday the 13th subreddit?
No, no. See, I don't get on all the Reddit stuff and forums. Like I've never been a forum guy or
Yeah. So
anything like that.
I mainly joined up because I was really intrigued on what's going on with this licensing because there hasn't been a Friday the 13th in what 14 years or something. Like it's been a
Yeah,
long time
it's the whole
because
Victor Cunningham, Sean
Rich
or
Cunningham,
Victor Miller, Sean Cunningham
Sean,
situation.
yeah, and so I joined then, and then I realized that people were doing their rankings. Nowadays, I don't really like it that much. I mean, it's still a good thing, but it's like who's the hottest babe in Friday? I really don't care for those things. But there were a lot of people that
Oh, that's
ranking the
that's
movies.
that's easy though. It's Deborah Voorhees, I think is her name.
Deborah
I
Voorhees.
think.
I don't know. I
It's
like.
kinda weird because her last name's the same as Jason.
Yeah.
I think that's her name.
I don't know. I kind of like them older ladies. That's why I like put Pamela Voorhees in my number one.
Betsy Palmer, hell yeah, man.
Betsy
Hell
Palmer's
yeah.
my number. But
Say
yeah, a
what
lot of
you want, I there's a lot of people that say the first one's one of the worst. I could not disagree more. That is one of
that's
my
not the
favorites
worst.
as
Yeah,
well. Like, I think that her performance really elevates that movie. She's
100.
legitimately terrifying at the end of that film.
It's
I
definitely
love the first Friday
slower.
the 13th.
It's definitely slower. It's definitely not a Jason movie, but
No,
neither is
no.
Part Five. And Part Five is one of my favorite, and everyone hates on that because but
I love
Jason's
part
not in
5.
there.
Love part 5. That's
I'm like,
definitely one
so
of the
the,
best.
the only reason why you don't like the movie is because that end scene when they reveal the face and it's not Jason Voorhees.
That's the one that has the girl I think her name's Deborah Voorhees, but she's in that movie. Now, what do you think about Jason Lives?
Jason Lives. Which one's that? What's the one?
Part
That's part
6.
6. I'm fine with it. Honestly, the first 7 movies, you can interchange them both. I like all of them. I know a lot of people don't like 3. But I just love
6
all. First 7 are really good, in
6 is
my
a
opinion.
good slasher movie, but it is the most overhyped Friday the 13th movie because almost everybody will put that in their top 3. They love Jason Lives, and I don't get it. It's the most tame Friday the 13th movie. It's almost like it's I like the whole universal monster aspect of it when he comes out of the grave in the beginning, but it's so tame. The kills are so weak.
Yeah.
And it's got no sex or nudity in it. To me, that's a staple of the Friday the 13th franchise. Like
I
you
actually
gotta
don't
have
mind it.
that. But it's almost like a cartoon. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just
It's
not a
also
big
the
fan of it.
one of the worst looking Jasons ever. He has a belt. He tucks his shirt in. He's wearing
Yeah.
gloves. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me. He has a
Yeah.
utility belt. Excuse me. Part 7 is my favorite look of Jason, where you could see his like spinal cord and he's like zombified.
That's the first Kane Hodder performance.
That is, yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of 7 too, but yeah, I love Manhattan. Manhattan's got a special place in my heart. That was probably one of the most rewatched Friday the 13th movies for me.
Yeah,
Love
I
that
think
movie.
what I was gonna say was like people don't care on if you like the movies or not, like certain movies. They only care if you rank them higher than their favorite movie. So if you ever
Yeah,
say
that's
Jason Takes
everybody.
Manhattan is better than Part 4, they're gonna be like heresy. How could you say such a thing? It's like yeah, but people have different opinions. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. So we were talking about like 4K transfers and stuff like that, and you seem to be pretty good at distinguishing the good from the bad. So what are some of your favorites 4K
oh,
transfers that you have in your collection since you've dove into 4K? What are
basically
top
anything.
recommendations, the ones that people need to go out today and buy?
Ooh, ooh. I don't know, 'cause it depends on your taste in movies. 'Cause for me, I'm gonna say any Stanley Kubrick film all day, but no one I don't know if people are gonna love The Shining. I don't know if people are gonna love 2001: A Space Odyssey. That is a long, slow movie, but
Yeah.
I think your
Well,
best
just
bets.
just based on the transfer alone, must-haves for the collection. Don't
Ooh,
even worry about the movie.
definitely
Doesn't matter what
Shining,
they think about it.
definitely Shining, definitely 2001, definitely
2001 was beautiful. Looked
my
great.
first 4K experience was Dark Knight. I made a video about it. I literally teared up because I for the longest time I hated seeing the gray light emitting from my TV whenever there was dark scenes. So when I popped in The Dark Knight and that
Still
first
don't own
full
that movie in 4K. Still don't. I gotta get it.
oh, it's so
Somebody
cheap.
somebody sent me the slipcover for it too, so there's no excuse. I need to get it, because I don't have to worry about the slipcover. I got it already.
I see people going on the Black Friday hunt to say, "Oh, 7.99." Oh, how have you not
I don't
owned it?
know, man. I don't I'm really weird sometimes. It's like I don't own the Star Wars trilogy on 4K, like the original one.
That's fine because it's the George Lucas altered versions, but
It's
yeah.
like there's just certain things I don't have and I should. Like I have them on Blu-ray, but I don't I haven't upgraded them to 4K. I have no idea why.
Yeah. But the more practical you get, the more film elements you have, the better the 4K is going to look. Even though I do like me some CGI fest like Godzilla versus Kong, fantastic. Not the best movie, but that's fantastic. But then you get practical effects like The Thing. The Thing was one of my favorite releases of the
That was
year.
so good. Yeah,
Looks
that was good.
so
That was so
good.
good. Yeah.
And then the slipcover looks great. The artwork looks great. So it's like you get both the best of both worlds. So yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of really good stuff.
Yeah, those are some good recommendations for sure. Yeah, the thing blew me away. What'd you think about it's talking about Kubrick? What'd you think about Clockwork Orange 4K? Did you watch that one?
Yeah, it's mid. It's not the best looking
It
4K. I
wasn't the
was really
best. I did like it though.
yeah,
I did like
it's
it.
good for what it was. It's definitely better than my 2006 Blu-ray, but,
Yeah.
like, when you compare it to, like, the other movies in his collection, it was like, "Oh, really? That's
Full
the
Metal
best you can do?"
Jacket was spectacular. That's one of my
Amazing,
favorite 4Ks for sure.
amazing,
That was a great one.
amazing. Yeah.
So in contrast to that, what's some of your least favorite 4Ks that you have? And do you still, because you mentioned selling Scream
Mm.
after you watched it?
No, I still have Scream.
Okay. Which ones you say you sold?
I sold well, I didn't sell, I returned because it was a defective product for me. Platoon,
Platoon.
Friday the 13th, yeah, but Platoon was such a disappointment because I love that movie. One of
Yeah.
my favorite war movies of all
I
time
bought
because
the
it's
damn thing, but I heard everybody talking shit about it, and I didn't
yeah,
watch it. I still haven't seen the movie.
it's a boutique release, and Shout Factory, it costed me, I think, $44. The artwork was terrible. If you look at the artwork, it's such low res image on the slipcover. It looks terrible. And then the movie is full of film degradations. Like, you pay a premium because you expect them to go deep dive into scrubbing all the imperfections out, like what Criterion does.
Yeah.
And it was just a like, and I love Scream Factory and Shout Factory. I like, one of my favorite releases of the last year was Candyman. Candyman, a micro shoestring budget film, but it looks fantastic. So when people are like, yeah, but it was only made for $20 million, I'm like, that's a lot of money. So
That especially back in 1992, that was a pretty good
yeah, I
amount of
could be wrong.
money.
It's like 10 million or something, or 6 million. Who knows? But like, it was definitely a lot more than Candyman or
Yeah.
Child's Play, and those movies look fantastic in 4K.
Oh, did you like the Child's Play movies in 4K?
Well, I got the first one because I don't really like the other movies, but the first one looks
You
fantastic.
don't like Child's Play 2? That is the
Uh,
best of the franchise, my friend. You're
is
not
it
a Child's
really?
Play 2 guy?
Well, to be fair, my only opinion on it is based on other people's opinions on it. But I'm like, oh, maybe if I can find it for cheap, I'll probably watch
Don't
it.
don't have you've not seen Child's Play 2 or 3?
No, I've seen those. Have you seen those reviews where people like screen for screen
First
reviews?
off,
Like,
I don't think nobody talks shit about Child's Play 2, at least not as far as I've seen. Definitely get Child's Play 2. I'm telling you, that is one of the best slasher films ever made. That is the definitive version of Chucky. That is the best that Chucky's ever been. He's scary in the first one, but he doesn't have as many like one-liners and stuff. I'm not saying he goes full on into comedy in the second one, but he definitely injects a little bit more of his humor, his dark humor in the second one. And he's also super sinister and scary at the same time. He's the best of both worlds in that movie. It's got a great score. It's different than the first one. Got some of the best kills of the franchise. Got some of the best one-liners of the franchise. I love that movie so much. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. You've got to watch Child's Play 2. Get
I
that
gotta check it out
4K.
then.
The
If it's
ending
cheap, yeah.
the ending sequence is in a doll factory, is in the Good Guy doll factory, and the dolls are, like, stacked up, it's like a maze, and they're trying to hide from Chucky in there, and it's one of the best, like, horror sequences of all time. Get it.
I'll check that out. But again, I'm not the biggest. I
100%.
mean, I grew up with horror. Like, my first favorite horror movie was. Oh yeah, my first favorite movies were horror. Like, I remember back in the day when YouTube, when you could change your layout and put pictures as your background. I don't know how long have you been using YouTube for, but mine used to be Freddy versus Jason all over. So I have posts from like 2007, 2006. One, two,
I
Freddy's
got your
coming for
nose.
exactly, yeah. So, but I guess I don't know. I
The
like a
hype
lot
was
of
real. I saw that movie in the theaters when I was a senior in high school, and it was like Avengers Endgame in that movie theater back in 2003. Like, people were excited to see Freddy versus Jason. It was packed. So I got fond memories of watching that movie in the theaters, but it's gone down for me in recent years.
Yeah, I recently rewatched it and I'm like, this is actually a pretty solid movie. Like,
Yeah.
especially compared to, well, like the lesser quality movies. If you had to make a comeback, I think that was a pretty decent comeback.
Yeah, it's still fun to watch, but the whole like Jason being afraid of water thing doesn't make too much sense
That was
to
a bit
me.
too much. That was a bit too much. But they
But
kind of did that in
it's still a fun movie to watch. I enjoy
100%.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the better Jason movie in a long time. And I actually I want to say I don't want to say that for Freddy because the last one before that was New Nightmare, right? And that's one of my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movies of all time. So
Are you a big fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise?
I wouldn't say I'm a big fan. I would say that the best Nightmare on Elm Street movies are leagues better than the best Friday the 13th movies, but there's just a lot of consistency when it comes to the Friday the 13th movies where they're just so
I agree.
rewatchable. I can
I
just
agree.
plop down on the couch, watch a Friday the 13th movie, and be good with it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love them.
There's not a Nightmare on Elm Street movie I dislike
Mm,
except for the remake.
really?
That's the only one I dislike. I used to not
Even
like the
Freddy's Dead?
second one. Yeah, I love Freddy's Dead. I got a T-shirt of Freddy's Dead. But I grew up with that movie. Like, I was like 7 or 8 when I watched that movie, and I always explain it to
Gotcha.
people this way. I was very young when I started watching horror, so those like goofier, like more cartoonish horror movies, like a Freddy's Dead, were very important to me for getting into horror at such a young age because I could watch those and feel, good about the movies I was watching. feel comfortable, I guess. Like they comforted me as a child. So I could they were accessible, like good gateway horror movies for a kid. So I would laugh and have fun with Freddy's Dead. And then I would, be scared about out of my skull watching the original Nightmare on Elm Street and Dream
Yeah,
Warriors and all the rest
I
of
was
them.
I was gonna say you watched the first movie. That is a legitimately scary film. Like
Yeah.
I remember rewatching the series the year before because my brother had never seen any of them. I remember getting genuine nightmares about Freddy in my dreams because it just leaves such an impact on you.
Yeah. But when are we getting that damn 4K box set of A Nightmare on Elm Street? When's that going to happen?
Hopefully soon. Have they done? They haven't done that's Friday the 13th, but yeah, hopefully soon because but don't multiple different do multiple different companies own it, right? Because I know with
So
Friday the 13th,
Warner Brothers
Paramount,
owns it.
but what about New Line Cinema? Don't they also own a chunk of
New
the
Line
chain?
Cinema is under Warner Brothers now.
Oh, are they? Okay.
So I think they have all the movies. Maybe they don't have the remake. Maybe they don't have. I think New Line did Freddy versus Jason though, right? New Line did Freddy versus
Yeah,
Jason, so
because
they would
because
have that one.
New Line bought the rights after Part 8,
Yeah,
after Goes to Hell, I think, or I think
I don't know.
Ghost to Hell was the first New Line movie. So
Yeah,
that's
Goes
why
to Hell was the first New Line. Yeah,
when you get the 8 film collection, it's from Paramount. So that's why Scream Factory, that big box set's really a hot
yeah,
commodity because they're able to shake hands with both New Line and Paramount to actually release something that's worthwhile.
yeah. And I didn't Platinum Dunes or somebody do
Yes, the remake,
Friday the 13th remake.
those Michael Bay remakes. Oh gosh, actually, I will say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Texas Chainsaw is
2003.
good. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that movie.
that was
Even the
my favorite
beginning,
Texas Chainsaw for a long time until I learned to appreciate the first and second one a lot more.
even the sequel, sequel prequel, the beginning, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. I didn't mind that too much. It's a bit much. It felt like Rob Zombie directed that, and I know your opinion on Rob Zombie, even though I don't agree. I still really like the first Rob Zombie Halloween movie.
Ugh.
The second one though is terrible. I will agree. Second one is absolutely garbage
No, I
because
like
of
the second one.
no. They do Dr. Loomis so dirty though. Like he's
Dr.
complete.
Loomis sucks in the second one. I'll
That
agree
was
with
like
that.
that was like
Um,
character assassination.
but I like I haven't watched it in about 5 years. I watched it right before the not the remake, but the reboot came out. And I don't know. I hated it when I saw it in the theaters. I was like, this is just bullshit. Like White Horse. Like, what is this crap? But I
That's a
gained an
sequel.
appreciation for it in the sequel.
That is a
Or
sequel though. The White Horse thing is the sequel.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I gained
Oh,
appreciation
okay.
for the second one on the rewatch. I don't know.
Okay.
It's really like dark and has some good atmosphere in it. I like how they deal with like the PTSD and stuff with
Yeah.
Laurie Strode, and I think there's some good performances by like Brad Dourif in it.
Brad Dourif's in it,
Um,
yeah.
so I enjoy the second one, and it feels like his vision, like his actual like stamp on Halloween, and that hospital scene in the beginnings are awesome too. Whereas the first one was him shitting all over the first one for the first like 45 minutes, and then he just remade the first
Yeah.
one in the
I
last
think because
45 minutes.
I think he went out he did an interview with Joe Rogan. He was like, dude, all these producers kept shoving ideas and storylines. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. And he was forced to because, he's whatever. So same.
He said on the second one that he just stopped taking like their calls and just did whatever the fuck
Yeah.
he wanted to. I was like, I
Well,
can
yeah.
tell that's a vision that not a lot of people would be down for sure.
Yeah. But I will say, I do love me some Rob Zombie. I love me some House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not
like
a
one of
Rob Zombie hater by any means. Like, I really just hate his first Halloween movie. Like, I like House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. I thought was awesome. I saw that in theaters. That's cool.
I did hate what's it called, Three from Hell. I did not like that movie.
I
That's
even
like
liked that movie. I thought it was a good conclusion to the trilogy. I enjoyed
I
it.
don't know. I kind of like the vibes. The vibes of the House of a
Yeah,
Thousand Corpses. For me, that's an essential. Every Halloween, I watch that because it's just the Halloween vibes. What
I
is it
still
called?
have not seen Lords of Salem. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen Lords. I heard 31 is decent though,
Yeah, I
but
haven't
I
seen
could be
that
wrong.
one either. The Monsters is terrible. So that's
I
another
haven't
one
seen
that
them yet. I
I'm not
heard
a fan
really
of.
bad things. I heard decent. I heard like different things, like how people are coming actually to be like, hey, the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin is actually decent if you look at it in the aspect of the 1960s Batman. So people like, oh, they're trying to go for that 60s schlock or 50s schlock.
I
So
just don't know why they made the movie that they did because they got to the point in the movie that the whole movie should have been about, like them just living in the house with the grandpa that should have been the movie. They didn't get there till the last 5 minutes, and then it started to get entertaining. Last 5 minutes, first hour and a half is just a origin story of how Lily Munster and Herman Munster met. I was like,
Yeah.
who the hell wants to see this crap?
But
Get
you
him in
think
the house with the kid. Like, there's no Eddie Munster. Like, get out of here.
because you think it'd be a perfect combination because Rob Zombie's a huge fan of the Munsters. He made a
Yeah.
song called Dragula, and it's like, what happened? I think one of the biggest missed opportunities was getting Rob Zombie to do, instead of a Halloween remake, he should have done a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I think at least
Would've fit
compared to
that a
these
lot
new ones,
better.
it would have been, because House of a Thousand Corpses is basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre diet Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
So I think
I
that would
love
be
that first
fantastic.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre though, with that guy from Full Metal Jacket, Arlie Ermy, in that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, he's so good in that movie.
I
For
wanted to
sure.
ask you, we're getting the 4K I think from Second Sight and from MPI. Which one are you getting? Or if you are going to get them?
I probably gonna get both. I can't wait till April to see the movie in 4K, so I'm gonna get the Dark Sky version at the end of this month. Comes out on February the 28th, I think. February 28th is stacked. You got Training Day,
Training Day,
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Rocky.
all the
1
Rocky
through 4
movies.
is coming out, which I'm super excited for. So I need to take a vacation that weekend or something because I got a lot of stuff to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get that, and I believe it's the same transfer.
It
I
is.
think that it's the same transfer as Second Sight, and I didn't know that until I started digging into it.
Because I remember there was a German release for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I remember reading reviews for it. I was like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a gritty, dirty looking film. So how much is the 4K going to be? Whatever. But then I saw the steelbook, and the steelbook is the theatrical artwork, and that's how you get to my heart. And I'm like, oh, I even made an Instagram post saying, oh, I'm not gonna buy it, I already have it on Blu-ray, and then I freaking pre-ordered it for like $70. So I'm the schmuck here.
I'm not gonna get the steelbook because I already pre-ordered the Second Sight version. As soon as I went up, I got it. So I am getting that one 100%. Because I just love even though the artwork on it's not the best, like I'm not in love with it. I think they could have done something better with it, but it's Second Sight. Every time they put something out that I'm mildly interested in, I'll get it. And I think it has the same special features too as the Dark Sky one.
I think what
Maybe
really
there's
didn't
a
tell
couple
me
more.
was,
I'm not sure.
I was like, oh, it comes with enamel. It comes with like a really weird extras, right? Like enamel pins or art cards or something like that. That really doesn't.
It's art. There's exclusive Second Sight art cards. I ordered it through Diabolic, and that way I didn't have to import it. So I got it for a little bit cheaper. I think it cost me like $53 or something with shipping and everything. But yeah, I'm excited. But that doesn't come out till April, so I got to get it in February and check it out, and then I'll get my Second Sight box set in April.
But, yeah, I'm pretty excited. Did you get the Vinegar Syndrome Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
I did, and that looked wonderful. Looks so.
Did you get the super duper edition or just the?
I got the super the hard box, the slip box and stuff. I actually got my Vinegar Syndrome package right here for January.
You're gonna film a video after this? Wow.
Do you collect much Vinegar Syndrome?
I don't really because they're so expensive, but I do own 3 of them here. I have Death Wish 2. I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and then I have Flesh Eater. I can't show Flesh Eater. There's boobage in there, but
yeah,
a lot of
Amityville. I would highly recommend, and Roadhouse. I don't know if you're a fan of Roadhouse, but that was the best 4K that came out last year for me.
I was tempted, but it was like $70. I'm like, I like Roadhouse, but is it $70 worth? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot when you're getting into those high prices you got to pay in.
Because I'm paying Canadian, paying 13% taxes, and then I'm paying import fees for that. Yeah. So,
but man, I think we've come to the end of this episode of World's Biggest Collectors. I'm sure that my Canadian subscribers and listeners appreciated your point of view and perspective on physical media, and I'm sure that all their grievances were definitely heard today for sure. So I appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Is there anything you want to tell the people before we get out of here where they can subscribe to Mockbuster or the Mockbuster?
Yeah, I'm I'm on YouTube at the Mockbuster. It might show up as the Mockbuster Canada. You might have to search around, but Mockbuster Blu-ray hunting. I'm also on Instagram where I post a lot of my letterbox reviews. I also post content when it comes to custom slipcovers. I love custom slipcovers. I have a partial degree in graphic design and marketing, so that's where my kind of eye for stuff comes from. And I sell them relatively cheap. I guess in the US, I would sell this for like $9. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. We can do a deal and stuff like that. But I'm not here to I'm not here to e-bag. I'm just here to, let you guys know. So thank you so much, Ken, for having me. I remember I wanted to say that Ken had me on when I had 400 or 500 subscribers, and now we're
you were on that. What were you on the May roundtable?
May, yeah, and you still haven't invited me back. You son of a bitch.
I need to have you back, man. Yeah, maybe February. You getting anything this month?
I'm getting everything. So
all right, well, you're invited. You're formally invited to February roundtable. So you'll be on the channel probably this week or next week, because by the time I put this out, it'll be almost time for that.
So I want to thank you for my success, because as soon as I got like 20, 100, 300. So now I'm at 1,360 subscribers.
Nice, man.
So I want to thank you.
Thriving over there.
Yeah, I'm finally monetized. I get that $40 a month. So
nice, man. Nice. Hey, it helps out, man. It's every little bit helps towards your physical media purchases. I mean, you spend a lot for the channel, so you might as well make a little bit back,
Yeah, I wonder if I can write them off as taxes. I was like, is this a business expense now?
After
I don't know, that'd be a bit too much.
After this year's taxes, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I'm going to start collecting every single receipt this year and see what I can do next year, because it was not pretty. I'll say that.
I feel like I'll be like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was like, I feel like I'll be like Michelle Yeoh, and everything ever all at once is like, really a tax write off for an iron? I'm like, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Do you have any upcoming plans or anything that people should be looking out for on the channel?
Well, I am a complete Kino Lorber shill, so my next video I'll be talking about every single 4K release that are upcoming for Kino Lorber and all of that goodness. So that's my big upload. It's
Kino Lorber, man, is just killing it right now. Like, they were my #1 label out of studios and boutiques last year, because just their output and quality alone is just like unmatched.
And the affordability, like it's
affordability,
way cheaper than what you're gonna get everywhere else. So
I mean, freaking Kindergarten Cop's coming to 4K this year. Cujo just got announced for 4K. Give me a break, man.
Red Dragon,
killing it.
Now, if we can only get Manhunter, Michael Mann's Manhunter, please. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Well, no, I was gonna say Once Upon a Time in the West on 4K, but Paramount's doing that one. But look, I appreciate you being on Mockbuster. The Mockbuster. I'm sorry. I will switch that in the title by the time this goes live. For World's Biggest Collectors, episode 46. Everybody make sure that down in the description below, you follow Mockbuster on his Instagram. I'll try to put your TikTok down there as well. Are you on Twitter as well?
No, just
no Twitter.
No.
Okay. Instagram, YouTube. He's on TikTok every now and then, doing the heavy metal concerts on there. So follow him over on TikTok. Appreciate you having you on, man. Definitely comment down below, guys. Like this video and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys later.
Peace.